Hi, so this is my visual inventory for the Philadelphia Cultural Fund. So, first, we're going to discuss the concept. The concept is all about encompassing what you want your website to show off. So, this will be all about what the viewer will perceive when they're viewing your website. So, my first example is from the Feeding America website, and I think that one of the most cohesive things that you'll see with a couple of my website examples is that they all showcase people actually using what this nonprofit is for. They are showcasing people living up to what they're all about. So you'll see images of people growing food and people who were hungry but are now actually getting these resources from Feeding America. Also, one thing that I think that I will be including is infographics so that people can get the information but are not overwhelmed with too much text to read. So I think that would be something that is very beneficial so that it can keep the reading light on the eye and people can really just connect with the visual instead of having to connect with so much text. Another thing that I think is effective is with this Boy Scouts of America website. They do this really interesting thing where they do not overwhelm the viewer with text again, and they're really focusing on the message that they're trying to give by including some links in their nav bar, but also including a separate set of links to external pages in their footer. So you can see in the nav bar there's things like join, give, shop, but those are not the same down below with the about, careers, terms, and the privacy policy and things like that. So I think that's really effective with separating the information and once again keeping it light for the viewer. Also, another website is the Mentoring Project. I feel like the concept with this one was really interesting because they once again are showing people who actually are a part of this organization and who benefit from this nonprofit. It's not just a nonprofit that's after your money and wants to just get your money and take it away. They're actually showing how it impacts the community. And that's what I think it will be very beneficial since the Cultural Fund does give back grants and does help influence the art in Philadelphia. I think by showcasing some of the artists that they actually do help, it will be beneficial to include. So for color, so making sure that there is a defined color palette is very important. I don't want to include too many colors that would be overwhelming, and I don't want there to be too many colors that just go out of context, and I want everything to be cohesive with the link color and things like that. So some of the ways that I'm thinking of using color is the way that the breast cancer website did, the Susan G. Komen Fund. I think that the way that they carried in the pink, which is widely known and associated with the breast cancer, is very effective. You can see the way that they did also use the black, which I think is something that I'm thinking of utilizing as well. The way that it shows up on the screen, the pops of color, and they did also go with something monochromatic, which brings me to my next example of the way that they did these blue infographics slash icons on top of the blue background, but it's a different shade so that it's once again not too overwhelming, but it does have contrast as well. The same thing with that yellow. I think it is very effective and somehow it's not too overwhelming because if they did bring those colors in from the bottom where you see know the codes, it would be too overwhelming after the title. So they really do keep a bunch of attention on their header and it kind of gives a nice division and brings you down the page with color. Then another thing that I'm thinking is the way that they break up a color palette with this Foster the Youth in Action Fund. So they have about 3 colors here that they're using repeatedly over and over again throughout their website, which I think is very effective and will help a user be able to connect. So one of your colors can be associated with different topics and so on and so forth. The tone. I feel as if I would like my tone to give off a more serious yet fun vibe to it. I don't want people to think that all because it's arts and it's associated with money that you can't have fun because once again a lot of the work that they do does go back to children. So one of the websites that I found has this beautiful, fun header, and it's colorful, but at the same time, it's not too fun. So they did use the darker indigo slash purple color at the top with that pop of pink, and also added the orange, the blue, and the red on top of it, which I do think is very effective. So that way, it's still fun, but also with the way they did it tastefully, and it's not too playful in a way that only directly associates with children. The next one that I was thinking is more of a muted color palette. The way they did this overlay, I think that is once again effective, because that overlay on top of the graphic that you see at the top in the header does allow for the color palette to be limited, because if the color fully did shine through and the saturation of those tomatoes was too intense, it may throw off the color palette that the website was going for. And then we have the Roots of Music, which they repeatedly use this yellow color, which is something that I'm also thinking of using. It does incorporate that sort of brassy tone that you have with a bunch of brass instruments and music, so I do think that that might be something to look forward to using, since this does go with the art and color, and it does have a tasteful, classy look to it. So in review, the concept is all about making people feel a part of the nonprofit by showcasing what they're all about. The color will be colors that give an elegant feel without making the tone too serious, and to illustrate the arts and what the foundation is really about. And the tone will be more whimsical and playful, encouraging success and creativity. Thank you.